Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I think one of the most common questions that people consider after they own property is their return on their investment. How can I make the most money on my investment? How can I increase the value of my property by spending the smallest amount of money as possible? How can I make the most amount of money without spending a lot of money? But I think one of the most common things, especially as I'm meeting with sellers and I'm walking through their homes, is how can I get more value for my home? What can I do to my home to make it worth more? How can I sell my home for more money? And yeah, there's very common things out there that we all know, but after my years and years and years of working with buyers and being boots on the ground with actual buyers, people who are looking at houses and evaluating them, I've picked up, a series of things that you can do to increase the value of your home. And I've categorized them through low cost, mid-cost, and then high-cost things. So I'm going to go through in this video the things that you can do to your home that cost very little money, but give you an excellent return on your investment. We're talking over 100% each time. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with something a little bit basic, which you may have already heard of this, but I cannot go through this video without mentioning this. So obviously, number one is painting your walls. Now, this is really important if you have really, really colorful walls. This is really important if you have really, really dirty walls. This is really important if you haven't touched your walls in a long time. Buyers want a house that looks like it's brand new and nobody lives there. They want a show home. This is especially important with the trim and the baseboards. Anything with real estate, the details matter. And painting your house, it could be a very small investment. It could be it could range from a couple $100s to a couple $1,000s. It's going to depend on the square footage of your home and also whether or not you decide to do it yourself or whether you decide to hire a professional painter. I remember I painted my house after I had my second daughter. She was a baby, and my house used to be this dark, like purpley gray, and I hated it ever since I moved in. And I don't know what it was. I was just kind of like on mat leave and I needed something to do. So I said, I'm going to paint my house. And it was a test to my marriage, to say the least. So we have 13-foot ceilings upstairs, and it was a test. So we did save money by doing it ourselves. Like I was quoted, I think $5,000 to have a professional do it. Whereas we just spent a few $100s on paint and materials and we got it done. And I'm pretty happy with it. So paint, number one thing. If you haven't painted your house in a long time and you're thinking about selling, this is something that is a must. And it makes such a significant impact for potential buyers. I had a listing in Markham recently, and this property, I don't think it had ever been painted ever in its whole life. It had the same owner, and it was listed by a previous agent, and it did not sell successfully. They brought me in, we did some renovations, but we painted, and my contractors painted. And I will show you like a before and an after right here. And the colors that we chose, it wasn't like a huge change in colors. It just was a complete refresh, and the home had been lived in for 20 years. So there were some scuffs and some dings here and there, but a fresh coat of paint really takes care of all of those small flaws. And I think that most people understand that paint is really important when you're selling, but it really is underrated for the amount of impact that it can make. Now, when you're painting your house, this is not the time to do like crazy colors or anything like that. You want it to be neutral. You want it to be kind of basic. It needs to appeal to the masses, right? So now is not the time to get too funky with it, but I have some examples here. And this is kind of the look that you want to go for. And people love to see a nice baseboard just pop. Just a nice white baseboard just pop right out. So definitely want to do some fresh paint. Secondly, you have to declutter. You have to declutter. This is part of like such a nasty conversation I have to have with sellers when I meet with them. and I have to give them a checklist to prep their home. And especially if you've been living in a property for many, many years, this is something that can be quite difficult for home sellers. But as much as we love all of our tchotchkes and all of our sentimental things, new buyers, they just don't want to see it. Like I said, new buyers, they want a house that looks like nobody lives there. They want nothing on the countertops, nothing anywhere. You want to get rid of absolutely any traces that anybody is living there or has lived there. And actually, here's a tip for all my sellers. Not only do you want to declutter, you want to depersonalize the house. And this is more for the privacy and safety for my sellers. So what does depersonalizing mean? It means removing any family photos of you and your children, any mail that could be addressed to you, any, significant work documents that may have your name all over it. Go into your medicine cabinet, any prescription medications that may have your name, address, phone number on it. All of these things are very personal, private to you. You want to depersonalize the house, not only for the buyers, but also for your own just privacy. Because when buyers come into your home, as much as we tell them, don't touch anything, be respectful, which I always send out a disclaimer. If they love your home, they're going to be coming in, they're going to be excited. They're going to be, oh my God, they're going to be opening the cabinets. They're going to be walking around, imagining themselves living here, which is what you want. You want them to be excited. You want them to have that emotional connection, but you want to always protect your best interest. You also always want to just protect your own privacy as much as possible. It can be quite difficult selling a home, especially when you have children. So declutter, and then a little bonus one is depersonalize in there. So the third is curb appeal, okay? Curb appeal, landscaping, flowers, bushes. When you are selling your house, this is the time. This is the time. Whether you do it yourself or you hire a landscaper, get out there with the power washer. If the house is full of mud on the side of the house, hose it down, mow the lawn, trim the hedges, trim the trees, maybe add a little bit of fresh flowers there. Whatever it is, put the patio furniture out in the backyard if you're listing in the spring. Curb appeal is so important. And it's not just curb appeal, it's first impressions, okay? Buyers decide within the first 8 seconds whether or not they're gonna make an offer on your house. Within the first 8 seconds. Curb appeal is somewhere where you can, invest a little bit of time or even a little bit of money and you will get a return, okay? This is not only though, if you are listing in the spring or the summer. This is also in the fall. Rake up the leaves. This is especially important in the winter. I can't tell you how many times I am trying to show a buyer a home and we can't even get to the front door because there's like 3 feet of snow. Or we're walking on the steps going up to the house and a buyer is like slipping all over the ice. Immediately they're pissed off, they're annoyed, they're over it, they're mad at me. I'm at the agents. I think people forget, this is an issue, a big issue as well in the wintertime. I tell my sellers, please shovel your driveways. If I'm there, I will give it a quick shovel. If I can't get there and there's a big snowstorm, shovel your driveway, please. Please. It is such a beautiful thing when you pull up to a home, especially in the winter and there's tons of snow and that driveway is shoveled, that path is cleared, little bit of salt down. Already you're feeling like, wow, this is my home. I feel welcome here. These small things, they matter so much in that moment. Next is the deep cleaning your carpets, your floors in general, but your carpets. Now, majority of buyers don't want carpets nowadays. Me, I love carpets. I have all hardwood and I wish that I kind of had some carpets in my house, but buyers typically don't mind if a carpet is clean. And you can tell when a carpet is clean, you can tell by the feeling how it feels as you're walking on it. Okay. I've been going into homes with some buyers where we go inside, we take off our shoes, and then we just immediately want to put our shoes back on, right? Or sometimes I've even worked with buyers who decide to not even go through the rest of the house. So making sure that your floors are clean. If you have carpets, shampoo your carpets. Again, this is something that can be done, a few $100s to maybe like $1,000 or so, depending on if you hire, a professional or a team to come in or whether or not you do it yourself. But this is really, really important if you have carpets Furthermore, a lot of buyers tend to have allergies. So if you have pets, if you have especially cats, and you have carpets, this is a recipe for disaster. I have seen people who have cats. These cats have ruined the listing completely because some buyers, they can't even step foot into a house if there's cats there. Matter of fact, if you have animals, this is another little bonus for this video. If you have animals, please remove them from the listing. If you leave the house, bring your animals with you. If you are listing the property for like a week, let's say, and you're doing a bidding war at the end of the week, my professional advice would be to even take the animals out, put them into boarding or something. If it's just for a short amount of time, bring them to maybe a family or friend's house, not only because, you know, of the pet dander, but on top of that, like, I am a dog owner, I am a dog lover. If you know me, I have a 90-pound European Doberman named Reginald. He is my personal protection dog. So I've grown up with dogs my entire life. I can't tell you how many times I'm showing a property and there's a dog home, and I love dogs, but a stranger walking into a house, dogs don't like that, okay? They immediately have their guard up because I'm an intruder. They don't know me. The owner's not home. You know, I remember I walked into this house and I was just doing a little walkthrough for my buyers, and the dog crate was all the way upstairs. And I walked in, it was kind of like a side split. So I walked in through the side door. So I was like on the level just above the basement, and I could hear this dog growling. Oh my God, this dog was gonna get me. And this dog was growling, barking, thrashing. And then it just stopped. Then I realized he was trying to bust out of the crate. As soon as he stopped barking, I could still hear like sounds. I could still hear like the crate like thrashing around. He was trying to bust out of the crate to come and get me. And I just had to turn around and come right back out because I am not trying to upset your dog. The dog is right to be mad if strange people are walking in a house and the owner is not there. So, and even a cat too, like, you never know. So that's why I'm an animal owner, I'm an animal lover, but please remove your animals from the listings if you guys are not gonna be there, just to save everybody. You know, the buyers could be allergic, but also not only can it upset the buyers, it can upset your animals as well. And we don't want to do that. I would never want to do that. So that's that. Got a little off track there. Another thing that you can do to really just zhuzh up your home would be to update your hardware and your fixtures. You can get really creative with some of the different handles and hardwares out there. I see these all over Pinterest, all over TikTok. You can get them vintage, you can get them secondhand, you can get all different types of styles to really match whatever kitchen, whatever bathroom, you know, whatever cabinets that you have in general. And you can have a lot of fun with this. And in this case, it doesn't have to be so bland. Like in this case, you can do something really beautiful and funky and special. And it's a nice little touch, actually, in my opinion. The next one is installing energy efficient LED light bulbs. Okay, now I'm not just talking about the light bulbs in your light fixtures. I'm talking about like the under cabinet lighting. I'm talking about like when you see really cool lighting outside or when you see it going up the stairs. This is something that doesn't cost a lot of money. It makes a really beautiful wow impact. I see them in the bedrooms, I see them in the bathrooms, I see them in the kitchens, I see them in the offices. Like, it's always just such a nice wow. And not like those LED strips that the teenagers have, but I have seen these done really tastefully. And this is like such a small thing that you can do that really elevates a home and just gives that wow factor. And it will give you a nice return in the end. I haven't had people who, you know, didn't see the value in having additional lighting put in. When you are updating all of your LEDs, you might as well update the light fixtures as well. Okay, this makes a huge impact if we're doing like a nice fixture above a dining room table, in a kitchen, above an island. I think, you know, getting rid of those old school, ugly, dirty boob lights and just putting in something that is modern and fresh and contemporary. Again, this is another thing that you can really have fun with. Doesn't have to be as bland. We turn on the lights when we go into a listing, so the buyers do look at this, they do recognize this. You will see a return. If you're spending a few $100s, it will be reflected in a buyer buying your home. So this is a great little addition that you can do throughout the home that will definitely guarantee a return on your investment. Another thing that you can do, and this could just be because I'm a mom, but adding storage and organizers. I love it. Okay, now adding storage solutions, this is something that you can DIY. Obviously, it's going to depend on like the scope of how you're doing it, but my recommendations are you can do really simple DIY options for this, and it always does make a really positive impact, especially with the women, you know, in the kitchens, inside the closets, in the kids' rooms and stuff like that. And then alternatively, the men really love to see it in the garages and the man caves, you know. Men are very simple when it comes to buying properties. Like they typically just want to have their own space, whether that's like a man cave, an office, or a really lovely garage or like work shed. And the women really value having a certain layout, the kitchen, the kids' bedrooms, all those things, the design of the home. So those are my takes. Even like a bathroom, I've seen really beautiful storage solutions within the drawers. In the kitchen, I love seeing like the pots and pans in the drawers. All these little small things can be incorporated and people just love it. They love to see it. Okay, we have to talk about these window treatments. If you have one of these window treatments, I want you to turn off this video. Go over there, rip it down and burn it, okay? Those are the thing of the past. I remember in my childhood home, I grew up in one small home and then we bought another one when I was like 10-ish. And in that home, there were window treatments in every single room. And I remember thinking, wow, this is fancy. And now looking back, they're actually horrendous. Like those big, drapey, curtainy, take them down, please. I had the listing, that same one, Alfred, and it had like 20-foot ceilings in the living room. And they did have some curtains and some drapery up there. And immediately we had like our guys come in, put up scaffolding, and we just took down all those window treatments to let in all that natural light. So the window treatments are a thing of the past. Please take them down. Even when we're listing, like I said, I have listed properties without any window treatments on them whatsoever. It really depends on, you know, where the windows are facing, if there's still privacy, but bringing in that natural light as much as possible is the most beneficial thing that you can do when listing your home. So please take down those outdated window treatments. And then if you must, you can always replace it with some curtains, you know, some simple modern blinds. You don't have to go crazy with these things. You know, spending a lot of money on blinds is not a guaranteed return on your investment per se. So this is something that I don't spend a lot of money on, just something simple will do the trick. And then lastly, we stage the rooms with very neutral accessories. So when working with me, I provide full staging for all of my sellers as part of my premium real estate services when I'm listing your home. So that is not an out-of-pocket expense for you. I have a really, really great stager and designer who comes in, and we purposefully use certain colors and styles to attract the masses, because the goal is to make your home appeal to as many people as possible. So we always want to stage with really neutral accessories, modern, not too contemporary, maximize the layout, maximize the square footage of the home, and just give it a fresh update, because buyers want a home that looks like nobody lives in it. It's like a show home. So that's my list of low-cost things that you can do to add value to your home, whether you're deciding to sell or not. Further to this video, I will have another one, which will be a list of like mid-range things that you can do. And then finally, I will have a list of very expensive things that you can do. But if you liked this video, please check out my next one over here. And if you found value in this video, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to book a one-on-one consultation with me, there will be a link down in the description here. And if you have any other topics that you'd like for me to touch on, just leave them in the comments. And thank you for watching.